Hello friends, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name is Elise, and this is my mystical, spooky bookshelf. And today I have for you a sequel of Sangu Mandana. I have read her Irregular Society of Witches, and this is the second book that she wrote. It is a witch's guide to magical innkeeping, and I'm just gonna say it. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. I gave it 3.5 stars, and let's get into why, because it was great, but it wasn't as good as the Secret Society of Irregular Witches. And that's okay. They were completely different. There wasn't any callbacks to the first book, which is fine. I didn't mind that. The characters, I have my handy dandy notebook here, so I'm going to be reading some of my notes. So if I'm looking down, that's why. So some of the characters we have are Sarah, she's the female main character. We have Luke, who's the male main character and Sarah's love interest. We have Posey, who's Luke's sister. We have Nicholas, who's related to Sarah. I think he's her nephew, maybe? I don't remember. I should have written it down, but I didn't. And then we have Clemmy, who is so super annoying. Let me just put that out there right now. I didn't like Clemmy. She was very annoying and self-centered, and she is a point of contention for me and a point of contention in Sarah's story. She is a fox right now in the present time of this book taking place. She got cursed by something stupid that she did, and she expects Sarah to fix it. For whatever reason, I don't know why, but she's really annoying, and I didn't like her. And I don't know why Sangu Mandana had to write such an infuriating character, because I think Sarah would have been better off without that burden of, like, Clemmy needing to be uncursed. I don't know why that was her responsibility. And then we have Jasmine, who is Sarah's grandma. Or not grandma. I'm sorry. I think she's her aunt. Something like that. And then we have Matilda. And, I don't remember who Matilda is. Man, I wrote this down and I don't remember who Matilda is. That's sad. Oh, I know. I'm going through it in my head as I'm saying it. Matilda is Jasmine's love interest. This is another point in the book that bothered me. It was like there was so many side stories. It was hard to focus on Sarah and Luke because there were so many characters. And then we have Ruru, who is Jasmine's pet rooster, who is a zombie rooster, which I thought was interesting, I guess. I don't know, there was a lot of stuff shoved in this book that felt kind of forced. Like, there's a lot of representation, which is great. There's Posey. Posey is autistic, which is good representation. She doesn't speak. She's like a mute autistic person, which I thought was interesting. And then, obviously, Jasmine and Matilda they're lesbians, so that's also representation. And everybody's pretty much a person of color, except Luke, I think, and Clemmy. I think they're both white, but the other are people of color. But it just feels so... Everything felt really shoehorned into the book for, like, the sake of being diverse, which I thought was kind of took me out of it a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. And Francesca is Sarah's childhood best friend, and Albert Gray is the villain of the story. And he is Francesca's father, and he was Sarah's mentor. He was also the most powerful... Sorry, I had like a dog hair hanging from my camera and it was bothering me. But Albert Gray was Sarah's mentor, and he was like the most powerful warlock in this realm. And Sarah was also one of the most powerful witches in this realm before she did something tragic to like basically lose her magic, which was sad. So her aunt Jasmine had passed away suddenly. There was like nothing really wrong with her, but she passed away when Sarah was a young girl. She was like 15, and Sarah like panicked, and she was asking Clemmy for help at this time, and she is like wanting to bring her aunt back, but she doesn't know a necromancy spell. So she asks Clemmy to help her, and Clemmy tells her the spell, but Clemmy fails to tell her that if she casts the spell, she won't have her magic anymore. And that's basically what happens. Sarah like raises her aunt, and from the not so recent, like she died she passed away, and then she like rose from the dead 5 minutes later. So it's not like super creepy, but it's a little bit creepy. But so Sarah loses her magic trying to bring her aunt back, and it was all about like Sarah trying to get her magic back, and how she's working for this magical inn with her aunt like 15 years later, when I think she's either 28 or 30, but she's roughly around that age. And there's not a whole lot of setup when it comes to the setting. Like, you're not really immersed in the innkeeping, which I thought was disappointing. I was hoping that there would be more like cozy setting, but there wasn't a lot of cozy setting. And it was sort of cozy, but I feel like the Secret Society of Irregular Witches was more cozy. So if you want cozy, I would read that book versus this one. This one was more sad. It definitely made me sad. It wasn't very uplifting. And the ending was kind of trash, I'm not gonna lie. The ending is why I gave it such a low rating. I would have given it like 5 stars maybe. But that ending really got me, and it made me sad and upset, especially for Sarah. So the ending is Sarah gets her magic back, but then she has to relinquish it at the end because she has to defeat Albert, because her and Albert kind of have to go head to head and like to see who gets to keep their magic, because Albert is obviously a really horrible person, and he does really bad things with his magic, and it's Sarah's duty, I guess, to stop him, and she does stop him by foregoing her own magic, which I thought was sad, because Sarah deserves to keep her magic. She's gone through a lot of stuff. Her parents basically disowned her when she was little, and they didn't want to take care of her, so she had to go live with her aunt. Then her aunt dies, and then she has to save her aunt, and then she loses her magic and is like the most powerful witch ever, but then she has to contend with losing her magic and not being the most powerful, and has a really hard time with self-acceptance. I think that was the best part of the book, was Sarah's character evolution, because Sarah, in terms of female main characters, Sarah's very cynical. This is the type of trope with 2 people that are grumpy. So Luke is grumpy and Sarah is grumpy. And I thought that was interesting because half the time when you read cozy fantasies and this type of stuff, it's always the man who's grumpy and the woman who's like sunshine, happy, la la la. So it's kind of cool seeing both of them grumpy, both of them cynical, because I feel like that's very true to real life. Like, you're not always gonna be rainbows and sunshine, you're gonna be upset. And I like seeing a character who is deeply flawed, deeply troubled, has a hard time accepting herself. And that was the best part of the book, was really Sarah's evolution to accepting herself with or without her magic. Because a lot of Sarah's character traits were because she was so powerful, because she was thought to be the person who would bring new heights to magic and would bring the society to different standards than Albert. And I think Albert felt threatened by her. So, I mean, I don't know if it was like planned that Jasmine would pass away and Sarah would like risk her magic to bring her back. I don't know if that was planned. It wasn't explicitly said, but thinking it over after I listened to it like a month ago, I'm thinking maybe it's not explicitly stated, but maybe Albert had sabotaged Sarah to give up her magic. That's just kind of my thoughts on it after reflecting. But it was okay. I enjoyed Sarah and Luke's romance. It was really sweet. It was a very slow burn. Luke is grumpy, but he helped Sarah come to a self-acceptance. Like, the romance starts off pretty slow. He doesn't really want to be in a relationship, but then he ends up falling in love with Sarah, and Sarah falls in love with him, and it was cute. I liked that part of it. I liked how they both helped each other find self-acceptance, because Luke's story is also kind of tragic. Like, he's also a warlock or a witch. He has magic, and Posey has magic too, but Posey can't control it very well because of her disability. And her being like a mute autistic person is really difficult, and her parents don't really take care of her, so Luke is kind of her legal guardian. So it's kind of like Sarah and Luke both have these burdens put on them for like no apparent reason, other than the other adults in their life are complete incompetent idiots. So yeah, I kind of felt for both of them. So I felt bad for both of them, really. And I really, really wish that Sarah would have been able to keep her magic, because I think that ending is just trash. Like, I might even round down. I might give it 3 out of 5 stars instead of 3.5, because Sarah should be allowed to keep her magic. That's my hot take for the day. Sarah should have been allowed to keep her magic after all the stuff she went through. And the side characters in this book were kind of meh to me. The only ones I really liked were Posey and Theo. And Theo is sort of, he's sort of Sarah's nephew, and he's really sweet. He's sort of like Posey. He's around her age, and he's in the same boat as Posey, where it's like his parents don't really want to take care of him, so Sarah kind of acts as his legal guardian too. So I wish we would have seen more of Theo and Posey, because their dynamic was very sweet. They had a really cute friendship, and even though Posey isn't super verbal, she talked a little bit more when she was with Theo than with anyone else. So I thought it was kind of cool how Theo like helped Posey be able to find the words to speak. I thought it was sweet. I liked it. And like I said, the message of accepting yourself no matter where you are in life, that was the biggest thing in this book, because both Luke and Sarah had self-acceptance issues, and them finding each other and falling in love helped them come to that realization that you should love yourself and not be too hard on yourself. And I mean, it was good. I liked the found family vibes. It just wasn't what I was expecting, and I feel a little bit remorseful that I used an Audible credit on it, but I might listen to it again and see if my thoughts change, but I doubt it, because I was really upset about the ending. But yeah, those are all my notes I made on it. I really enjoyed the grumpy. I enjoyed self-acceptance, and I enjoyed the found family vibes, even if some of the diversity in the book felt forced. But I mean, I would recommend it, but I would recommend her first book way more than this one. I made a video on the Secret Society of Irregular Witches last year, so I would definitely watch that video too if you want to know my thoughts on that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have too much else to say about this book. It was sort of, I was very hyped about it, but it ended up just being a little disappointing. But sometimes you can't please everybody. And I know some people really loved this book, but I was just kind of in the, it was okay. But I mean, I would recommend it regardless. But yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and thank you for subscribing, and thank you for all the comments that you guys leave, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye, friends!